stage.
Great. Look, I said what I said, which is that we do have, of course, a special relationship with our friends in the UK and also with some of our European allies, but we also know that there have been infringements on free speech.
Well, no, I mean, certainly we wouldn't want to reach across US citizens, and we don't, and that's absolutely right. But in relation to free speech in the UK, I'm very proud of our history there.
That actually affect not just the British, of course, what the British do in their own country is up to them, but also affect American technology companies and by extension American citizens. So that is something that we'll talk about today at lunch.
Remember when Keir Starmer called Trump a threat to our fundamental values? Fast forward to last week, and there he was, practically gushing over the former president with a smile plastered across his face. Nigel Farage exposes this breathtaking U-turn for what it really is, political theatre at its most shameless. But it was JD Vance who truly cornered Starmer, confronting him about Britain's declining free speech right to his face. The moment Trump heard it, his expression said everything. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favour. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. What a difference an election makes. We're witnessing political theatre at its finest with Keir Starmer's remarkable transformation from Trump critic to eager admirer. For years, Starmer positioned himself as a staunch opponent of president. This wasn't just mild disagreement. Starmer explicitly labelled Trump as divisive and dangerous on multiple occasions. He didn't merely criticise Trump's policies, he went for the jugular, declaring Trump represented everything wrong with populist politics and posed a danger to our democracy. Fast forward to their recent meeting.
Attacked by Russia, will you come to their aid?
If the British people are in Ukraine and they get attacked, I've always found about the British, they don't need much help. They can take care of themselves very well. But if they need help, I'll always be with the British, okay? I'll always be with them. But they don't need help. You look at their career, you have done very well over the years, haven't you? You know what? No, it sounds like it's evasive, but it's not evasive. The British have been incredible soldiers, incredible military, and they can take care of themselves.
And you'd think they were old friends reuniting. The footage reveals a completely different Starmer, one desperately seeking Trump's approval, with an awkward performance that couldn't be more transparent. The body language tells the whole story, that forced smile plastered across his face, the nervous laughter at Trump's remarks, and a palpable discomfort beneath his conciliatory facade. Every gesture screamed political calculation rather than genuine engagement. Particularly telling were the moments when Starmer actively praised Trump, completely contradicting years of his own rhetoric. The contrast couldn't be more stark or more cynical. It's the political equivalent of claiming you've always hated a band, then frantically trying to sing along to their hits when you discover they're popular with people whose support you need. The Churchill episode perfectly encapsulates this hypocrisy. While Trump openly praised Winston Churchill during their meeting, Starmer had previously removed Churchill's portrait from prominent positions in Downing Street. As Nigel Farage rightly pointed out, this isn't merely about decoration, it reflects a fundamental attitude toward British history and values that Starmer was willing to paper over for political advantage.
We discussed all this, though.
Mr. President, while we have the Vice President here, are you both disappointed that the AfD didn't come first in the German elections, given your previous support for them?
No, I'm not disappointed about anything. If anything, you would say that the group that we would be most opposed to lost, but we got along with them also. We have a very good relationship with all groups in Germany. Whatever happens with Germany, look, the relationship has been very strong with Germany, but we'll have to see what happens. They have a lot of things going on right now. We'll have to see.
Farage didn't mince words in his assessment, describing Starmer's behaviour as nothing more than political theatre, a performance designed purely for electoral advantage, rather than reflecting genuine convictions. The public hasn't missed this charade either, with many voters expressing disgust at the transparent manoeuvring from a man who apparently stands for nothing beyond his own political survival. The most damning aspect is how completely Starmer abandoned his principled stance against Trump's divisive rhetoric. Every criticism, every moral stand, every concern about democracy, all sacrificed on the altar of political expediency. This isn't pragmatic diplomacy, it's naked opportunism that reveals a politician without core convictions. Starmer's diplomatic charade came to an abrupt halt when Vice President nominee JD Vance decided to expose the glaring contradiction between Starmer's international performance and domestic reality. The confrontation began innocuously enough, with Starmer confidently proclaiming to Trump that Britain has had free speech for a very, very long time. A statement so divorced from current British policy that it seemed almost deliberately provocative to anyone familiar with the UK's recent crackdown on expression. Vance, clearly prepared and unwilling to let this blatant mischaracterization stand, immediately challenged Starmer with uncomfortable precision.
Well, so President Zelensky's coming to see me on Friday morning, and we're going to be signing really a very important agreement for both sides because it's really going to get us into that country.
And we want to work with you to make sure that peace deal is enduring, that it lasts, that it's a deal that goes down as a historic deal, that nobody breaches, and we'll work with you to make sure that that absolutely happens.
And having to do with rare earths and other things which we need for our country. And we appreciate it very much. And I look forward to seeing him. We'll be talking about it.
Actually, sir, with respect, you guys are arresting people for mean tweets, Vance stated firmly, referencing the UK's increasingly controversial policing of social media content. This wasn't merely political theatre, it was a direct reference to the Online Safety Bill and other measures that have seen British citizens arrested for online posts deemed offensive by authorities. The effect on Trump was immediate and visible. What had been a somewhat cordial meeting shifted as Trump's expression changed from polite engagement to a knowing nod of agreement with Vance's assessment. The American billionaire, who has consistently positioned himself as a defender of free speech, seemed to reassess Starmer in real time as the British leader squirmed uncomfortably. Vance continued his pointed critique by highlighting how UK speech restrictions were creating problems for American tech companies operating in Britain, a direct challenge to Starmer's attempt to position himself as business-friendly. There are a lot of American companies that do business in the UK that are worried about the speech restrictions, Vance noted, effectively connecting domestic British policy to international business concerns. This exchange gains additional significance when viewed alongside Elon Musk's ongoing battle with the Starmer government. The Tesla and X, formerly Twitter chief, has repeatedly criticised UK speech laws as overreaching and dangerous, recently describing the Online Safety Bill as a path to censorship. Starmer's administration has dismissed these concerns while simultaneously expanding the very restrictions Musk warns against. The confrontation laid bare the fundamental disconnect in Starmer's approach, claiming to value free expression internationally while actively curtailing it at home. This wasn't merely an embarrassing diplomatic moment, it was the exposure of a pattern of saying whatever seems politically expedient in the moment, regardless of consistency or principle. Farage's scathing critique of Starmer's performance during the Trump meeting cuts straight to the bone. It was clear to anyone paying attention that Starmer was trying to win favour with Trump while pretending to be genuine, Farage declared, exposing the calculated nature of what we witnessed. This wasn't merely diplomatic protocol, it was an orchestrated performance that collapsed under its own inauthenticity the moment Vance introduced reality into the equation. The British public deserves more than political pantomime. When our leaders transform their core principles into disposable accessories, discarded the moment international winds shift, it erodes the foundation of democratic trust. The spectacle we witnessed wasn't just embarrassing, it was revealing. If Starmer can execute such a dramatic about-face on the international stage, what does this tell us about his commitment to domestic promises? The answer, as Farage suggests, should trouble every voter, regardless of political allegiance.